You're listening to a podcast powered by WOBI.
Hello and welcome to the WOBI podcast, where we uncover ideas, stories, and strategies that inspire leaders and empower companies to evolve, thrive, and make a lasting positive impact. My name is Sophia, and I'll be your host for this episode. Today, we're exploring a real company case study on how to win by embracing who they truly are and creating strong, meaningful communities. To prove it, we'll dive into one of the most remarkable examples of a successful brand strategy in recent years. The story of a company that evolved from a global fast food giant into a true cultural force. How? By using the powerful role of identity in shaping purchasing decisions, creating fans, not just customers. That brand is McDonald's. If there's one area of business that has gone through a dramatic transformation over the past century, it's marketing, and brand strategy in particular. What once relied on product features, emotional benefits, experiences, or even purpose-driven messaging is no longer enough. Customers today are hungry for more, quite literally. As Marcus Collins, the award-winning marketer, points out, today, truly powerful organizations go deeper. They operate at an ideological level. It's when companies achieve this level that they don't start with what they sell, but with what they stand for. They don't just communicate messages, but create meaning. They act as identity markers, signaling who we are, what we believe, and the communities we belong to. It's when customers don't just buy from you, they see themselves reflected in the brand. And Marcus didn't just study this shift, he helped lead it. As Chief Strategy Officer at Wieden+Kennedy, New York, he worked with McDonald's to take its strategy to that ideological level, turning it into a cultural symbol embraced by its audience. And also, we love a good fun fact. Did you know Marcus ran the digital strategy for Beyoncé? Now you do. Let's hear in his own words how this shift brought McDonald's to life as a cultural force.
McDonald's has been a client of mine over many years in different iterations working at different agencies. But most recently, McDonald's came to the agency I was working with most recently and said, hey, we're battling a lot of hate. McDonald's is basically the punching bag for everything wrong with the American diet. And we said, yeah, that's true. However, 68 million people show up at your door every single day. That's a lot of love. Why don't you focus on them? And they said, that's a good point. So we asked them, who are these people that despite all the vitriol associated with the McDonald's brand, they still identify as a fan? They didn't know. They knew their credit card data, but didn't know who they were. So the team went on a road trip, did an ethnography, started in Chicago, where McDonald's is headquartered, and drove through the heartland of the country, talking to a myriad of people that transcend demographic boxes, different age, race, gender, household income, geography, education, all the things, across this stretch of land that we call America. And what they found is that these different people, they found this constant refrain among them on what it means to be a fan of McDonald's. And the refrain was so salient, it was so prevalent, that they put it in a book called McDonald's Fan Truths. And some of these truths might actually ring true for you. For instance, your friend would take a fry even though they said they didn't want any fries. Fan truth. Is there anybody out there who doesn't eat the cheese stuck to the wrapper? If you don't, you are a monster, because that cheese is amazing. And while these fan truths might seem superficial on the surface, there was one fan truth that rang so profoundly, and it was this: no matter how big, how famous you are, everyone has an order. McDonald's, in a way, is sort of a democratizer. No matter how big, how famous you are, everyone has an order. And we said, this is actually a powerful truth about the brand and about these fans. So for Super Bowl 2020, team put together an advertisement to celebrate orders from famous people, real and fictional, in hopes of activating fandom among McDonald's fans. So we put that in the world and brace for impact. What's going to happen? Put in the world, and to our surprise and delight, no vitriol, no negativity. Instead, it sparked discourse that people started to debate the validity of those meals, but also weigh in with their own orders. The team said, oh, we got something good here. Let's turn this into a real idea. So we partnered with a real life human being who was a fan of McDonald's, happened to also be very famous, a gentleman by the name of Travis Scott, whose famous order is a quarter pounder with bacon, shredded lettuce, barbecue sauce, dip his fries. Same order that he had back in Houston growing up. And the thing about this is that that order already exists. It's not a new product. We just gave it a new frame. And we put it out in the world for a 1-month campaign. And in the first week, we broke the supply chain of quarter pounder ingredients at McDonald's. People were so ravenous about this that they were stealing posters off the windows when the restaurant was closed. And in the 1 month that this campaign ran, we added $50 million of incremental revenue to McDonald's, and Wall Street added $10 billion to McDonald's market cap. And we go, oh, I think we got a platform on our hand. We went from insight to idea, truth to idea, and idea into platform. The last 4 years have been unbelievable for McDonald's business. Year-over-year growth, double-digit growth quarter over quarter. McDonald's has only released basically 3 new products in the last 4 years. The mobile app, chicken sandwich, and Grimace milkshake. These are products that have already existed, but framed through a cultural lens, and therefore it has new meaning. Not only that, but McDonald's has operationalized this thinking of culture as a propellant for their work. That they don't focus on people who like McDonald's. They focus on fans, people who self-identify as fans, and they talk to fans like a fan. What we call a fan-to-fan strategy. And what does McDonald's do? It observes the cultural practices of these fans and use that as a way to engage them like a fan. So what does this mean for us? That we have to get much, much closer.
Nothing like reality to bring theory to life, right? This is a clear call to action for marketers. Truly understand what your organization stands for and amplify it. What McDonald's really shows us is how tapping into a brand's ideological core can create deeper connections, turning customers into fans. Growth stops being a goal and becomes the outcome. And we're not just talking any growth, but $50 million in revenue in 1 month. And to sustain that in time, McDonald's didn't just launch new products, it redefined its culture. So, are you ready to get that close to your customers? To uncover those fan truths that could rewrite your brand's future? The question isn't whether you have a Travis Scott hiding in your fan base. You do. The question is, how will you find them? Those are key messages we want to leave you with to reflect on. And if this episode hit home, share it with someone who needs to remember that marketing, at its core, is love with strategy. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, goodbye.